You add doubt. What if this does not work? What am I going to do? Did God lead you to making that change?
I think I consider myself to be a curious person because I had to choose whether to graduate or pick text, and I wanted to finish strong. The decision to transition did not come up on the fly. If I'm not doing something that is linked with engineering or that's related to engineering, I don't think I'll find fulfillment.
Hello guys, welcome back to another episode of Beyond the Codes. So we're excited to be back here. I think this is supposed to be like our first video, and for this particular episode, we have a guest, a dear brother and a friend. I don't even know what else to call him now, but I'm going to introduce him very soon. So the reason why we have him here is to have him come share his story. I think his story is very incredible. And let me just get right into introduction. Right. So today we have John.
Yeah.
Right, John.
We have
John in the studio today.
John
Malik.
Thank you.
Can you first be called John Malik?
Yeah, like John Malik, John Abdul Malik. Anyone is fine by me.
Is fine, but make sure it's John.
But I still have people that still call me by my
your previous name. Okay.
But then I'm fine with anything actually.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you for having me. Thanks for inviting me. Yeah. To come and share my story.
Yeah. I mean, we should be thanking you for obliging. So like I said, John is here to share his story. John is a software engineer. Even though he transitioned, he didn't start out as a software engineer. He started out as civil engineer, and he transitioned into tech. And I mean, the major reason why I think John's story is very incredible is the fact that I don't think John has been in the tech space for like very long, and the amount of things he's been able to achieve, right, even in that short time, right. John is currently like a mid-level, and is crawling his way up to senior engineer, right, in just a few years. And I think he has a lot to offer, a lot to share. So in this particular video, we're going to be talking about your motivations, your challenges, the transition process, and every other thing that comes with it, right? So let's get right into it. Let's start from the beginning, right? Okay. Let's start from, where you studied civil engineering.
Yes.
Right. Let me start from, what was your motivation for studying civil engineering in the first place?
Okay. Truth be told, I am a very I think I consider myself to be a curious person. So I'm usually like interested in knowing how things work, how things happen, how things come to be. For example, now if I see this thing, working or functioning in this particular kind of way, I'm kind of curious to understand, like, how's this thing?
How does it work?
What's going on here, right? So I like to just dabble into things like that. So I think that fueled my passion for engineering. From the onset. So from my secondary school, I've always been, I know this stereotype. Oh, you know maths. You go and study engineering. So it was the same thing applied to me as well, right? I was good with science subjects, physics, chemistry, maths, and the likes. And I kind of enjoyed it. I think if I'm not doing something that is linked with engineering or that's related to engineering, I don't think I'll find fulfillment. Right, if I had gone to say I am studying, or I went to study something like let's say biological sciences or medical sciences, for example, I don't think I would have the fulfillment that I get when I get to like try to understand how systems work or what is working and why it is working. So I feel like it's always something that I have always wanted to do. So it it was not difficult for me to like, okay, I just need to go with engineering. Yes.
But why civil engineering? Why not elect or maybe mechanical engineering?
Okay, so at the time that I made that decision, right, I didn't know so much about elect.
Okay.
Like, truth be told, I didn't know so much about elect and even mechanical engineering, right? The only idea that came to my head then, sorry, like I'm saying this on camera, but the only idea that came to when I had mechanical engineering was kind of, they do something in relation to automobiles, right? And I love that part of engineering too, but then it was not as appealing to me as, when I see structures, buildings, for example, when I see skyscrapers, when I see the Golden Gate Bridge, right? That's that iconic bridge that we see, in movies every now and then. And I see, like, let's say the Burj Khalifa, for example. So it's that intrigues me more, right? And I just felt like, well, I don't know. Although there was a time I was actually considering doing petroleum engineering, right? But I felt like petroleum engineering was too... this personal, by the way, like, this personal. But again, I felt like maybe petroleum engineering was a bit too streamlined, and I wanted something that, offered me a lot of diversity. So I felt, well, civil engineering is quite more diverse, considering it's one of the oldest branches of engineering. So that was why I felt like, being the oldest, like, there must be a lot of sides to it. There must be a lot, to learn. It must be very broad. So that was why I picked civil.
Okay. That's nice. I mean, for me, from my own perspective, I think all engineers are all engineers. Like, whether it's civil, mechanical, engineering is engineering. Engineering is fine. I mean, I didn't study engineering, and I don't think I would have survived if I studied engineering. I think engineering is...
I think you would have.
Trust me, I won't have.
I think you will.
I mean, maybe you're looking at it from the perspective of, okay, like me as a software engineer. But you see, I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. But you see that civil engineering, especially, I really struggled with some courses back then in school. Not mathematics, physics. Oh God.
Physics was my favorite subject.
Of course. Can you imagine?
Physics was my favorite.
It was not my own favorite subject. I think my favorite subject from school was mathematics. And I thought I knew math until I got to UI. I'm like,
wow, God. UI maths. well, it was I kind of enjoyed UI maths. To me, well, like, as I would like to say it, I think math courses were some of the courses that I enjoyed the most in UI, ironically. But I enjoyed my math classes in UI. I don't know why. Many people say, for me, I enjoyed every bit of it. Maths, all the maths that I did, I enjoyed them.
I mean, I think that's why you are the one in engineering, and I studied computer science. So, all right. So, what was your? Because we are going to get into the transition process now, but I'd like to know: did you start working as a civil engineer? Because I don't know, like, did you have like a job as a civil engineer after school before you decided to transition?
Now that's a very tricky question, because I won't call it a job, but it's still a job nonetheless, because I served as a civil engineer during my NYC for an entire year. I was serving with Lagos State Ministry of Works and Infrastructure, Office of Infrastructure to be precise. I was in the they call it PMET, that's Project Monitoring, Evaluation and Training. So I was in the PMET unit. So what we do is basically we go to sites that, ongoing projects around Lagos State. So that's the unit basically does projects, monitoring and evaluation of such projects, right? So that was the unit I was assigned to when I was posted to the Ministry of Works and Infrastructure. So, and I was there, like, met a lot of fantastic, amazing people, right? My boss at the time was very, very, he was a very good person. I still miss him, even though there was a time it was even, I told him about the transition too, and he was trying to persuade me to, like, oh, come on, bro. You don't have to, we still need you here. So, but but I did that during and that was the same time I was making the transition, right? I was making a transition into tech too. So it was like, yes, I did work for some time, as a civil engineer, because I was posted to, there was a project around Odba at the time. Although it was completed, I think it was completed sometime last year. Can't remember. Yeah, it was completed around last year, I believe. And I was there when the project started, right? When like the first pile for that bridge project, I was on site. I witnessed it. In fact, I recorded, the whole thing, right? And till we got to the what's it called now? We had completed the peers. We were about doing the peer caps. I think we had completed the peer caps too. We had completed the peer caps. Then we had started working on the girders when I left. So
I'm just trying to pretend as if I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, well, I understand, like, with people that so the girders are like the horizontal members for a bridge, like when you have the regular, like the Mokola flyover, for example. You have the vertical members, you have the horizontal members, then you have the slab, so the ones that span horizontally. So I think it was at that point that my NYC ended, and I had to leave.
You had to move
the ministry.
Well, that's quite interesting. That's quite interesting. So I'm curious. Why? I mean, what was the motivation for transitioning? Right, because to be honest, I don't think I've ever asked you this question, like what the motivation was. And at times when I think about it, even like as I was praying for this particular episode, I was like, let me just try to like think of. So in one way, I was thinking, okay, is it that did you think that there's a better future for you in software engineering, or because I know how concrete your work with God is? I mean, like I know that. So did God lead you to making that change?
Yes. So just like you said, right, I'm actually very, very careful when I make some major decisions, right? And the decision to transition did not come up on the fly, right? It came around 2019. I was I was preparing for my final year.
Like way earlier.
Yes. So then it came around that time, and I felt like, okay, I didn't even know anything about tech. Like, I had not started researching about the field, and I just I pondered over it. Then in 2020, COVID came, and then one of those days, the idea dropped in my mind again. I think then I had started having a conversation with Marv. Yes, I started conversing with Marv, like, okay, if someone wants to get into tech, how does one do it and all. Right, I didn't know the difference between software engineering. I just knew that, okay, people were doing what's it called then? People were doing programming, right? Like I wanted to learn this thing and just familiarize, and let's see where it takes us to. So that was like, so it's, for me, it started as a longing in my heart, like, will I say a longing or a nudge in my spirit, man. It was not because then tech was not popular at the time.
I mean, as it is
tech
now.
was not as it is now. It was not popular at the time. It was the notch came in one day. We were in class with my friend. Interestingly, the guy is a senior backend engineer now. So we were just talking about, bro, we are entering our final year. Where do we go from here? So we were having that conversation, and he did not necessarily talk about tech. I did not talk about tech, but we just had that conversation. But and
was he into tech then?
He was into tech then, interestingly, but I didn't. Like, we didn't talk about tech. We were just talking about, what do we do after school, right? Is it that, are we going to continue with civil engineering after school, or we have other plans? So that was the conversation. But the notch came, and I felt like, well, there has to be something something outside school that has to be concrete and offers, a well-defined path to a fulfilling future for me. So that was like when the whole thing started, and I did not really do anything about it until much later. That was because I had to like choose whether to graduate or pick tech. So and I wanted to finish strong. So I had to defer till I was done before I started making the transition.
Yeah, I'll pick on something that you said. Like you said, you had to decide whether to graduate or pick tech, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe you were very intentional about those choice of words, right? Whether to graduate or pick tech, because I know that there are people that like got the same nudge that you got, and they felt like I think it would be nice to get into tech, and they just abandon every other thing and just face tech. And part of things they abandon is even like they don't care that they've been working towards like a particular about a particular ending, like in school, right? And you just leave it and start focusing on tech. Can you speak to that?
Yeah. So for people like that, I feel like everybody has their own uniqueness. You have your strengths and your weaknesses, right? So for me, it was when I said I had to pick whether to graduate or it was not like it was going to be a bad decision to do tech, but then I didn't want I will be transitioning into something new. That would mean that I would devote a lot of time to learn, right? To get my hands, dirty with projects here and there and all of that. And I was also working on my final year project. So, and it's an engineering project. Engineering projects will demand a lot from you, right? And then you have to still go to classes. Then I was also an executive in my school fellowship, and I was also an executive at AUCSF. So there were a lot of responsibilities, on my desk at the time, and I just felt it was just ideal to just defer and wait till after graduation, then we now make the transition, because I did not see me bringing tech into that picture and be effective with everything. Like I wouldn't have been efficient, because I'm trying to learn something new, and I also want to finish off with a good grade in my final year, and I also want to be committed to my responsibilities in fellowship. So it will have been a lot for me personally. I feel like there might be people out there that can do it more efficiently, right? It's fine, but for me, I just could not at the time.
I think I'm one of those people that I only just believe that I can do it. But trust me, I think more times than I can count now, I've been proven wrong. I cannot do it. I can't do it. And I was going over like so for context, people that didn't attend CTC, the conference that we had earlier this year. John was one of our panelists. Yes, our panelists. I was going through that video, and I remember like there was a question that someone asked about how like she feels a nudge that she used to be
I remember that.
But I think she's in medicine, and then she has this, she has that. And your response then was that the tech that she feels that God is calling her to is not going anywhere.
Yes, it's not.
Exactly.
It's God. It's not going anywhere.
It's not going anywhere. So you can finish up what you are doing, right? Yes. God will not bring a plan. I mean, more often than not, God will not bring a plan that will disrupt. I mean, God does bring
He does disrupt plans,
but more often than not,
do it haphazardly.
Exactly. Yes. I mean, it usually makes sense.
Yes.
So
and you're already. You're the tail end. You're just close this chapter, then open the next.
Yes. I think that makes sense. I just wanted to like mention that so that in case there's anyone that is having that kind of like confusion, right? I remember Dr. Babatunde said, "Don't worry, I've heard God on your behalf. Finish what you are doing first."
Yes, like especially when you are the tail end of something as important as your university education. I think it's just because your parents have invested a lot of money. I don't know how I'm going to tell my dad that okay, I'm because of I'm now coming. I'm failing a course or something, right? It would have sounded well.
Yeah.
So it was just the wise thing for me to do at the time. Like I just took my time, although I did make some research in that period. I did make some research. I did check a couple of things. I was, sandwiched between picking data science or software engineering. So I asked a lot of questions. I was talking to Sheyi, I was talking to Marv, and so I was still doing like my findings, like just so that, okay, by the time I eventually want to transition, then I can have a clear path. So that was it.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, before I go to my next question, so I mean, since you were considering data science and software engineering, why did you now pick software engineering?
Okay, to interest you to know that I actually started with I tried, Python. I did Python, and I still use Python, like not professionally anyway, but on the side, like personally, I still use Python. But I learned Python, like a little bit of Python in my final year, and I felt, and Python is basically synonymous with, like it's how do I put it? It's very versatile, right? And is very like is strongly linked with data science. Like it's very common with data science. So that was like, okay, if you know Python, you can do data science. Okay, well, let's see what's here. So I tried a little bit of, just a little. Like I didn't go do a deep dive, just a little. And like I told you, my priority at the time was graduating. Right? So it was one of those things I experimented with. Then I also experimented with software engineering. I tried my hands on HTML, CSS. I didn't really touch JavaScript because the way people talked about JavaScript at the time, well, it's okay. Don't worry, I'm going to have your time. So, but I did try HTML and CSS, and I did try, a little bit of Python and data science then. So it was not something that was very serious that would have disrupted my academics, but just like, okay, let's, try the waters. So basically I was just trying the waters. So because, then I didn't have as much of a context to what each field does. So I just wanted to, okay, let me even try this thing a little and see if it's something that I'm keen to venture into, right? Or let's see if this is the way to go. So it was nothing serious.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. I think it's important to like one thing I picked from your story is that it's important to just plan, right? Because one of the things I've seen that people do, especially like, so I get a lot of calls, people like, you have a nudge to do something and just go ahead and do it. Like, calm down, like just calm down and make a plan.
Brood over it.
Yeah, brood over it. Right? Because like at times the first thing that comes to your mind is not even like the best thing. I mean, or the right thing.
The right thing, yes.
Yeah, the right thing for you for you to do. Like my coach would say, it would say like, sleep over it. Like there are times that I wanted to make certain decisions and I just think I want to do this. We say, okay, I've heard you. Like, come back next week and we'll talk about it.
And we talk about it.
And by the time I come back next week,
you realize that exactly. you were not very convinced about what you were talking about.
Exactly. Yes. So, like, yeah, I think it's just important to mention that. Okay, so let's move on to like talking about the transition process. How did you start the transition process? Like, what were the steps you took? Right. I mean, maybe courses, maybe reaching out to people. Did you attend a boot camp? I mean, obviously you didn't study computer science. So did you attend a boot camp, or did you how did you go about it?
Yeah, so the transitioning was, if I'm able to go back, and I'll probably take a different approach.
Okay.
But I'm going to talk about it. So towards the end of my final year, towards the end, I got into Google Africa Developers Program. Right. So they were focused on web development. So that I did HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. But to be very honest with you, I did not understand JavaScript with that program.
Wow, okay.
I did not understand JavaScript, but I did understand the HTML and CSS part. But JavaScript was just very mysterious. And I didn't bother myself because I was waiting okay, let me just close this chapter. Let me finally close this chapter. And I graduated in December 2021 and was inducted in January of 2022. Then in that same January, I bought a course on Udemy. JavaScript course on Udemy, because that was now like
not to face it.
I needed to face JavaScript now. Like whatever it is that this thing is about, let me face it. So I bought a JavaScript course on Udemy, and I was very introverted, right? I didn't have, although they were, I still tried to go to Sheyi once and again, but I felt like maybe I should have disturbed him more.
Okay. Yes.
Because I feel like I didn't disturb Sheyi enough. But I feel like maybe I should have disturbed him more. But I was just trying to take things one step at a time. But I made a decision, and that decision was that I did not rush to go for NYSC. I waited for, we were mobilized in January. My friends, a lot of my friends went in February. I waited till June before you went. That was batch B. I didn't go with batch A. So between January and June, I was at home, wake up after my usual morning routine, JavaScript till evening. And I did that every day till it was time to go for service. And in April, towards the end of April, I also got a scholarship on ALX in partnership with Udacity. So they did they call it a nano degree. Yes. So they call it a full stack nano degree program. So that time I had worked a little with JavaScript, and they were doing backend with Python and Flask. So we were building full stack applications, and they introduced us to databases and all of that. So that program spanned, I think, about 3 or 4 months. I can't remember at the top of my head now, but it also like kind of exposed me to how we build projects, how projects are built and all of that. Although it was not something that I fully understood at the time, because I was still new, right? I was still new, so I was still still trying to understand a lot of things. But so that was a process for me, right? I just decided that, okay, you know what, I'm going to shut down for the next couple of months, and I'll just be learning. And the reason why I said if I could go back, I'll do it differently is because throughout that period I was not really talking to people. I was just doing it on my own. I was just doing it on my own because I was alone. There was nobody to talk to, so I was at home, wake up, work with JavaScript. I'll run into bugs, rack my head, go on Google. We know how ChatGPT at the time, unfortunately. So I'll go on Google, try to. Although it's kind of helped my problem solving skill, but I felt like if I was talking more with people, right, it would also have helped me like develop faster. Yes. So that was the transition. The transition process was a bit let's say brutal. And it was very brutal.
I mean, so we've established that like you learned by yourself.
Yes, I learned by myself. I'm proud of that.
Yes, honestly, like I know that, and that's one of the first things I usually ask. I mean, advise people when someone reaches out and says, and asks, how do I go about it? Like, should I take a course? Should I go to a boot camp? Like, do you have money? You have money.
Go for boot camp. I didn't have money.
You don't have money. You have to sit down with this thing. Right. So I think that makes a lot of sense. And
I need to say this too. Yes. That course that JavaScript course, it was Marv that bought it for me. So shout out to Marv. I can't forget. Because that course for me. Yes.
Thank you, Marvelous. If not, we wouldn't be here.
We
wouldn't be here. All right. So let's talk about challenges. Right.
Okay.
Because I know definitely you must have had challenges.
I did.
You mentioned that. I mean, you isolated yourself. Let me not say you isolated. So you isolated yourself. So what were like? Can you share sometimes that the times that you just felt like you had doubts, the times that you had doubts about this decision that you've made, right? Or the times you felt like, is this thing going to work? What if this thing does not work? What am I going to do?
Good. So I think the most challenging part so far was when I just started, like when I just joined Mainstack as an intern. I remember my first day at work. I had to ask myself again if I really, really, really wanted to do this. Right. It was not because of, and it was just because, just like you mentioned, I was working alone. So I did not really have someone that would explain best practices, how you do things, how you build, and all of those things. So now coming into a team, I'm working professionally now. I've never done any professional project before, right? So coming into a professional setting where you have rules, you have guidelines, you have protocols, it was just a lot for me to handle. So it was very, very challenging. I had imposter syndrome, but it didn't last. I didn't last because I was able to get myself out of it like pretty much quickly. And I also appreciate the role my CEO played at the time, because it was a very small team, and he was basically like involved in with the engineers at the time. So he quickly identified where I was strong at, and they played to my strength. The tasks that I was working on were tasks that I was that I was like, maybe I was strong at handling, and the ones that I was not so strong to handle, they made room for me to grow into that. So I think I also appreciate the role of the management at the time.
So I mean that's very incredible. I mean, I've seen people that the way their tech career turned out, it's not nice, and it's all because like they just had they had like bad managers. Right. I think having like good managers is a gift, to be honest.
I think that's one of the things that even when I'm discouraged, I always encourage myself that I have good managers, and I believe it's God's way of telling me that He's with me on this journey, because I hear testimonies I hear testimonies, and I'm like, come on, because I mean, I'm telling you, I'm privileged enough to have good managers, even like from when I started up until now. I've never had managers that were hostile, and I something I'm very grateful for. Yes.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So, I mean, kudos to all the managers. I know it's not easy to manage people. As a manager, I think one of the things that makes a good manager is being able to spot,
identify strengths, where your people are good at.
At times, I like to say, I think to a good extent, maybe the best kind of people or the easiest kind of people to manage are like senior engineers. And I'm saying this from my own experience. Not that I've managed people. I'm saying like from being managed, right? Because so for instance, I think it's very easy for my manager to manage me, right? Because so the one-on-ones that we do, where we just that meeting where you just talk, share progress and things like that, I'm basically the one that drives that meeting.
Wow.
So like for my meeting, like my one-on-one with my manager is 1 hour. So that 1 hour we talk about different things, and I tell my manager that I'm reading this book, and I want to like finish this book by so time. So I'm going to write that in my goals. So my manager basically just comes and listen, right, and then
take notes.
Take notes, and at times I have things I want to ask. Right, because at times I face some issues like in terms of, because I manage a team, right, from a technical perspective. I don't manage people, but I manage a team, and there are times, and my manager managed the team previously, so there are times that I'm stuck too, and I want to like speak to my manager what I'm facing, right. So, but my point is that my manager doesn't really have to do so much in terms of like trying to figure out what I need.
I already know what I need, how to help you.
I just tell my manager that this is what I want to work on, and this kind of book that I need, or even if at times I don't know the resources, but I know what I want to work on, and he can just tell me that I've been here, like take this particular course. So, but for like for instance, the junior guy that is on our team, it's a lot of work because he might not even know what he needs.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you have to identify it.
Extra hard to monitor, observe, and say, okay, I think this is what you need. So like at that point in time, it's not like, it takes a lot to be a great manager, right? And because those times are like the formative years of
that.
They are defining years
defining moments.
for that
engineer.
guy. So I mean, it's again, kudos to all
great managers out there.
I'm not sure I want to be a manager. Yes.
Well, you're way to becoming one.
No, there was a time I really wanted to be a manager, but let's move on.
For another day.
Let's move on. All right. Okay. So let's talk about that. I want to talk about that imposter syndrome, because you said that it didn't last. So do you think that? So you've not felt imposter syndrome since then?
Oh, okay. Imposter syndrome in the sense of not feeling not good enough.
Yes.
Yeah, I still feel that way sometimes, because I'm not where I want to be.
Where you want to be. Yeah.
So obviously I still feel that I'm not as competent as I should be. Right. But it does not get to me so much so that I now begin to feel bad about myself. Yes, I don't let it get to my heart, right? I just see it as a way as a way of challenging myself to demand more from me. So that's how I see it. So the reason I say it didn't last was because, apart from my manager helping to play to my strength at the time, I was also able to see where I needed to grow in. And it came in a way that, from the way I was managed then, I was given room to grow, right? To grow, like, and it was not growth in a hostile way. It was okay, grow, like, be curious enough to know this thing, and
support you,
and so exactly support and all. I got good support, and for me, it's basically like it was just a way of challenging myself. Basically, that's how I see imposters. Each time I feel that way, I just feel like there's something I don't know, and I need to just find a way to understand it, and then take it up from there. So, but I still feel it. I still feel that once and again.
I mean, I think it's not something that can really go away, but it's something that you need to accept as part of
the growth process. It's part of the because if you don't, if you are not aware of your lapses, if you are not aware of what you are not good at, how do you want to grow?
You can't grow. Exactly.
So you have to grow somewhere.
All right. Were there any skills or qualities or concepts that are kind of shared between, like, civil engineering and software engineering?
Yeah, absolutely. There are quite a lot of. I believe engineering itself is universal. When I mean, I'm talking about engineering principles, right?
Okay, yes.
The principles that apply. I'm not talking about the specifics. I'm talking about maybe best practices, safety, economics, things like that, right? Yes. So there are still things that I picked up from engineering that I still find to be very, very relevant in software engineering. Take, for example, safety.
Yes.
Right. When you are designing a building as a civil engineer, you design for safety first and economics, right? Yes. And the same thing for a software system too. You put safety first, right? You don't want a system that is porous.
Security,
and then at the same time, you want to design it in such a way that it's not going to cost too much. So these are things that I find to be very, very applicable in software engineering. So and there are quite a lot other principles, but at the core of it, I still feel like the principles are still very much applicable. In fact, one of my lecturers used to say something like, as a civil engineer, you're a jack of all trades and a master of all. So because he believes that the principles that you work with as a civil engineer, you can apply them anywhere and it will still work. So I feel that statement is very true.
That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. So my next question is, do you believe that God calls people into certain spaces? And let me elaborate on that question, because I believe that some people have it easier than
some people. Yes.
So, and in fact, I used to think that I am one of those people that have had it easier, but trust me, I've seen people, like, just when you feel like you're on certain levels, you will see people that
are like, God,
you are learning.
Yeah. you are just coming off.
Like, because there are things that I struggle to understand, and someone will just come from nowhere, like, and just look at it and I've gotten it. Like,
wow,
how are you guys doing this thing? So, do you think that God calls people to certain spaces? What's your opinion on that?
Well, for me, that question is a bit very, very dicey, and dicey in the sense that we cannot say God cannot call somebody to do something. Right? God can call somebody to do something. Right? Now, God calling. If God can call somebody to do something, for example, God calls people into ministries. Yes. Right? God can also, and not all of us will be full-time ministers. Yes. Right? There will still be some people that will still be doing their normal, regular day job, right? Are we going to say they are not called as well? Yes, they are called, right? But where they are functioning is just different, right? So with that, I believe that God can call somebody to function in a particular space, yes. Right? At the end of the day, the reason God calls people is to execute His own will, yes. Right? Not our own will, is to execute His own will. And if we are in the will of God, we will have, these instructions once and again. God can order your steps and, lead you to a particular field, yes. Or God can give you a job in a particular space, yes. Right? You know that, okay, this job came, because God made it possible. And then as your own responsibility is to serve the will of God in that place, yes. And bring glory to God. Yes. So if that is what you're saying, I believe that it's possible for God to call people into different spaces.
So follow-up question. And in fact, I don't know how I forgot this question. It came to my mind when you were talking about...
Let it come back.
So it's back.
Okay.
It came to my mind when you were talking about how... when I asked you about like the transition process, like did you hear from God or did you just feel, that so there are people that yes, because we are spiritual people and we hinge everything that we do on God, everything centers around
God, yes.
So there are people that believe and they are waiting that they need to hear from God to be able to take certain steps, right? And when I say hear from God, and because
they are waiting for a spectacular,
a very dramatic, my son, my son, I send you to tech, go and work at main stack and make their life better. Go and work at pay stack and solve payment problems in Africa. So some people believe that is how it has to be. But I mean, time and time again, you when you listen to even some of our ministers, I and this is something that I've also been brooding over for some time.
Okay.
So there's a place of you pray and you receive instructions.
Yes.
But there's also a place of God just ordered your steps to do something.
God can inspire you.
Yes.
So God inspires
to that in terms of like knowing maybe whether to get into tech or even what part of tech to even pick.
Yeah. Okay. So that question you asked now is a function of your personal walk with God. Right? How does God lead you? Right? And I believe for many people, the leading of God comes, or the instruction of God comes sometimes by inspiration. Yeah. Right? It's not always the spectacular as many. It's for people that are accurate in their walk with God, are people who have mastered how to, understand the Bible calls it the still small voice.
Yes.
That's still small voice. That inspired voice that just comes to your heart.
You
right?
Just know.
You just know, you just know that this is what should be done.
Yes.
Like you just know in your heart. It's not your head making it up. Now you just know in your heart. There's a way that knowing comes. Right. So I believe, again, it's a function of your personal walk with God, right? And so I'm going to be very careful to speak to that. But if you are waiting to have something spectacular, I think you've got it wrong, right? That's my own opinion. I think you are wrong. If you are waiting for God to, show you a dream or something, why not try and just spend some time and pray and expect God to inspire your heart, because God can inspire your heart and drop, a nudge in it, right? For me, it was a nudge, and I understood what it meant, and I followed it, right? So it can be the same for you. It might not even be a nudge. It might be like maybe an inspired word from scripture just comes to you, and then you understand what you need to do. It might be God can even send somebody to you that will just speak to your situation, and you know that yes, this is from God, because your spirit man will bear witness to it. So there is a lot of diversities when it comes to the way God speaks to us, because God speaks to us like individually, and it's the experience might be very unique for everyone. So but waiting for the spectacular is to me it might not be it might slip there. It will take forever, because you cannot tell God how God should speak to you. Exactly. And oftentimes it's not you that will tell God how he should speak to you, right? And oftentimes God does the supernatural like without without doing something spectacular. So but it's still God nonetheless. So that's what I would say to that.
Yes. So I mean, in case you are that's your situation. So I hope that
I hope this helps. I hope this helps. I really hope. And I pray that God lightens your heart.
Yes, amen. Okay, so this next question, let's talk about the transition process again, but for people that are much older, right? We've talked about how you went about the transition process. What about people that have spent some time in a particular space, and these people, it's one thing to make a transition when you don't have certain responsibilities.
Yes, right? Yes, I get.
Yeah, there are people that
you have a family.
Right?
That's hard.
What do you think? Because for me, I'm always thinking of. I look at this from that person's perspective, and I feel like, okay, number one, tech is demanding.
Very demanding.
So you can't tell this person to leave what they are doing. I mean, that currently brings the little that
he brings home,
right? But still, if they want to get into the tech space, they need that time and that dedication.
And that dedication, yes.
So, what do you think? I mean, from your own perspective, right? What do you think such people can?
You see, I had to first heave a sigh. Like I just had to first take a deep breath, because it's actually very, just like you mean, it's very hard for people that already have full-time responsibility. Especially when you have a family that you are responsible for. In my own case, I did not have that kind of responsibility. Right? I did not have that, so I was able to churn out time. For that. I'm not married. I'm not married. So, but for people that are married, you have responsibility. You have to take care of, and meanwhile, the bills still comes every month. So you cannot abandon your job and say you want to start transitioning. So for people like that, it's usually very hard, and I understand. But nonetheless, the demands of tech will still. They are constant.
Yeah.
Like you just have to prove yourself.
Exactly.
Right, and that will require that you still make time. However you want to do, you still have to make time to learn. You still have to make time to build projects. You still have to make, like, you just have to do it. It's hard. Like, it's very hard for such people. And whenever I see people who eventually pull it off, I like to salute them, because it takes a lot of courage. It takes a lot of courage, and it takes a lot of will. Like, I'm just trying. I like to even imagine how do you do it? I mean, it's not easy.
It's not
at all. So I respect people like that are able to pull it off. And for those that are considering, to do it, if this is your situation, I'm going to encourage you. I know it's very hard, right? Like, let's call it, it's not easy, it's very hard. You have responsibilities already, but then I believe it's still worth it. Right? And if you think it's also worth it, I believe you should be able to just push yourself, right? It's just the start that is, the starting part is very hard, and then it gets to a point where, of course, it does not become easier, but then you have stability at some point, right? You are more stable at some point. So that's what I'll just say. I don't have any other advice. It's hard, but you just have to do it.
Wow. Well, I mean, I think that's a very nice advice, and I think it's one thing we can do for those people is just to like pray that God.
And then we also have to support people like that. Especially if we find them in our community.
Yes.
We need to support them as much as possible.
Support them. It's very important. I mean, God will help them. God will
Amen.
help them. Okay, so there are people. What is a wrong reason to want to get into tech? Like, what are some wrong reasons? And let me set an example.
Okay.
So there are times that people come to me and this person has something they do already, but just because they feel like tech is the trending thing now, right? Oh, I want to get into tech. Like, how do you guys do it? I think someone reached out. Someone spoke to me somewhere. The person like is a gospel artist. Right, so the person in the music industry, but the person has not really broken through.
That's
right. So and the person was like, like he would like to also like do what I do. That day, I think I just told the guy that, and this person's married with a child. So I said that. So I told the person that I said, sir, what I would advise is that I think you should spend the time that you want to use the time you want to invest in tech, spend it on getting better
at your music career.
Music, right? Because, and this is something that people miss. So you just feel like, because see the tech space, right, is very much like every other space.
Yes.
It's just that, okay, there's some differences. It's not as if there's one the tech space is not a silver bullet, right? So I was giving an example that if, for instance, you're a gospel artist and you feel like the reason why God has not lifted you up or you've not broken through is because you have not found helpers, for instance, right? Maybe there are definitely people like that. But not everyone is like that. I think the majority of people are probably not like that. There are people that I know.
Yeah.
So let's ask this question. Let's just analyze. Let's just have this scenario of, okay, let's assume that you just woke up today and God decided that he wants to test you. Like, God said that, okay, the things that you feel are interesting to you. Let's say all the churches in Ibadan and Lagos, like you have, like
they booked you.
Yeah, they booked you for ministration throughout like the end of the year, like till the end of the year. The question we should ask ourselves is that when you go minister at a place, would they call you back?
Yes.
Would that experience would it be an encounter? Yeah. Would it be something that they will be like, oh God, this minister did this minister did that? Meanwhile, there are people that, some of these our big gospel ministers, that let's assume that they are nothing. And mistakenly they entered one church and went to minister. A lot of us will leave that place just thinking of that experience.
Yes.
This minister
did minister
God doesn't mistakenly raise people up.
Yes.
There's some level of work. So I believe that, okay, if you feel like you are not at a certain level, also look inward. Don't just say that, because maybe music is not doing now. Now it's
let's do tech.
Tech will most likely not do
too. Yes, especially with that kind of mindset.
Exactly. Yes. Exactly. So I just wanted to like mention that, because there are people that I was speaking to someone recently that said they want to do full stack. So you are doing front end, you are doing back end. I said, bro, you are more proficient in front end than back end. Why not focus on the front end? Now, you want to learn back end. You are not the front end. You've not got.
You've not got
like you're not going to.
You're not even stable there.
You're not stable. You don't want to move to back end. Now, let's say you are, and this is the analogy I always give. Let's assume that the plan that God has for you, which is always good, is that next month there's an opportunity that is coming.
Okay. Right? Yeah.
And at the moment, your current level is 50%. But that opportunity, for it to be successful, or for you to get that job, you need to be at 60%.
60%, yes.
And based on your current routine, you're supposed to get to that 60% next month. So it's perfectly timed.
Yes.
But you decide that today,
you want to look at something, yes.
So you leave your 50% and start building 1%, 2% in back end. Now, God has already put that opportunity in place. It is already in motion. The opportunity will come.
And you miss it. Yeah.
So I always give that analogy that it's the fact that maybe somebody is doing it and is working doesn't mean your own
doesn't mean to work exactly. So you need to understand your own unique case. Understand your uniqueness, your unique case.
Yes.
I think it just like you mentioned.
Yeah.
I think many people today ventured because it was trending.
Yes.
Especially in 2022, it was take that, take this. Now that there's a little bit of shake up in the tech markets now. People are now calming down. Yeah, people are now calming down. Yeah. So it's just, and I think just it applies across industries too. Like you cannot just do something because other people are doing it. Even personally, as a life principle, it's not a good way to live. To live on vibes,
yes,
or because something is trending.
Based on trends.
Based on trends. No, you can't. You have to be very, very intentional and make sure you have a vision of what it is that you are doing. Make sure you are well attuned to the demands of what it is that you are venturing into. You cannot don't just wake up because what if another thing starts trending tomorrow?
You move now.
Will you now move to that? So because there are people doing very well who are doing excellently well in other fields as well, in finance, for example, right? Even in other disciplines like engineering, people are even doing well as content creators. Like the sky is big enough for all players to fly. Exactly. That was just it.
Exactly. Cool. Okay. You moving up from, you joined Mainstack as an intern.
Yes.
Right. Did you pass through the junior developer phase?
Yeah, for a couple of months.
A couple of months. God, when? Hey, God. I can't tell you how long I was a junior developer. God. So, and then you moved up to mid-level.
Yeah.
How did you do that? Right? Because, from what I know, I think that whole thing happened in like 2 years.
Yes.
So, how did you do that? For someone that is looking at you and like wants to maybe achieve something, if not the same thing, something similar, right? Share, what was your strategy? Or was there even any strategy?
Well, there was a strategy. Yeah, so the strategy for me was, I have people like you. I have Shay, and every time I see, the way you guys are advancing in your career, I'm also like challenged to demand more from myself, right? So I took a couple of courses, courses. So I took a couple of software engineering programs, a proper software. So I started learning low-level programming and started learning more about algorithms, data structures, then how best practices, these things that are on the next level, basically. So I started learning a couple of these things, and then I started applying them to my work too. And I felt like, it started becoming obvious. That, okay, this guy has grown, this guy has grown, and well, they saw it. I felt it was visible that, because I was now handling more complex projects, and the project I was handling were now complex, and it was at the level that a mid-level developer should be operating. And that was how I got what I did. But the strategy for me was I was learning as crazy. I was learning a lot. I was learning a lot. I was learning a lot.
Emphasis on a lot.
Emphasis on a lot. Of course, some of this. Some of these things. So I was just digging up stuff, like learning here and there. I was very hungry for knowledge, and because I feel like I don't have that much time.
Exactly.
Right? I know that I transitioned into this career, and I cannot stay as a junior developer for a very long time. I need to move to the next level as quickly as possible. Yes, that was what fueled my pursuits.
Yeah, I think that makes sense, right? Because I love the fact that you emphasized on you worked a lot.
I worked a lot.
Yes, people need to know
period.
That,
yes. There were times that I was sleeping 4 a.m. because after working all day, I have to now get back to my software engineering program.
Sit down again.
Now sit down, learn and also work on projects. It was crazy. It was a crazy 1 year. So the crazy 1 year, but I'm grateful that I took that program because before I completed the program, I moved to the next level. I moved to mid level. Like within, it was not up to a year. Yeah, it was not. It was just a couple of months. I think within 10 months, I was just 10 months as a junior, and I moved.
Yeah. So I think one thing I want to pick from there for anyone that is watching is the fact that, number one, in I don't know about other spaces, but one thing that I know in tech is that you have to be performing at the next level for you to
before you are considered to that level. Yes.
If you are a junior and you are waiting for them, you feel like, oh, okay, you stayed long enough as a junior that is not promoted. Your value is not obvious enough. That's why.
Yes.
Right. Your value is not obvious enough. That's why they've not promoted you. So, and it's important that you don't grow by just doing the day-to-day work at your job.
At your job, yes.
You won't grow that way.
You have to put in extra.
Yes, you have to put in extra hours. I think that's one of the things that makes tech even more demanding than
a regular field, because some field they can consider you spent this number of years doing this, let's promote you. But tech, you have to show it.
You will show it's new. Nobody cares that you
have to show it. Honestly, honestly. There has to be some evidence.
There has to be evidence.
That, yes, you deserve this promotion.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. So, what would your advice be for people that are looking to get their first job, like right now?
Yeah, no. The job market now is very challenging. I sincerely understand, right? There's no money, right? So there's cash crunch, right? Yes. So investors are leaning more towards AI startups now. So the regular traditional software startups are not getting as much funding, and as such, they are not hiring as many people so they would rather hire senior mid-level people than consider juniors. So it's very hard for people that are just coming in to get that opportunity, right? And I understand it can be very frustrating. It can be very frustrating. Unfortunately, some of us did not go through that, right? But we have to also understand we cannot but identify that this is a challenge for people that are just for emerging talents, right? And my own advice to them is they should just hang on. They should not give in to frustration. Yeah, I'm aware it's frustrating. It's a frustrating situation, but they should keep on. They should keep on working hard, right? Because I believe that a time will come where if you do what is impossible for people to ignore.
Yes,
there's a point you will get to, and if you are diligent at what you do, it will be difficult for people to ignore you.
Yes,
it will be difficult for people to ignore you. So my advice is get to that point where it is hard for you to be ignored.
Yes,
work on projects that will make the head spin.
Yes,
like people will have to just look, and they'll have to turn their necks and just take a look.
Yes,
right. Get to that point, because that's what the bar of entry has gotten to that point where you have to really prove yourself. They are what the requirements to get in now is very, very high, such that you just have to do something that would make people look in your direction.
Yes,
so that's the point that we have gotten to. And I think for those that are just coming in, I believe you have what it takes to do it.
Yes.
So don't give up. Just keep pushing and get that project that will make a head spin. And I believe you definitely get an opportunity that way.
And I think it's. I mean, I'd like to think it's maybe easier now. Because of the AI thing that we now have.
That we now have AI tools that can also you can even try building AI projects. You can incorporate projects that that are bootstrapped with AI, and that's something that is even selling now. So
it is selling.
So you can try that.
All right. So we are almost wrapping up. So looking back, at your journey, the transition. What is the one thing you are most grateful for?
I'm grateful for a lot of things. But the most thing I'm grateful for is I'm grateful for the journey so far. I'm grateful for where I am at the moment. And I'm also grateful because I know where God is taking me
Taking you to.
But the most important thing that I'm grateful for, or what I consider to be, are the people that God has surrounded me with, right? The people that I call friends, that I call brothers, who are in tech. And I think if I'm not grateful for anything, those are the people. I'm very grateful for that, and that includes you, includes Sheyi, Marv, Daniel, all my tech people that are around me. Right, I'm really, really grateful for having those people around. Right, although as introverted as I was, I don't know if I'm saying an introvert, but I feel like you guys were able to each time we talk. There's something that I feel a push. Okay, you need to push forward. You need to push forward. So there is no room for me to be complacent.
Yes.
So I'm grateful for having that community. Where every day I see a reason to grow.
Yes.
There's a reason to grow. I know that I cannot. This person is not stopping. I cannot stop. So,
exactly.
So I'm grateful for that community, that group of friends that I have.
Community. I think I was just also going to emphasize the place of community. I think the community you belong to can either slow down your
growth or accelerate it.
Accelerate it. I mean, for me also, again, the same set of people, to be honest.
Yeah, if you have excellent people, it will just rub off on you one way or the other.
Yeah,
even the Bible says iron sharpeneth iron.
Exactly.
So it's just make sure you have people that can sharpen you.
Exactly.
I feel that's the most thing I'm grateful for.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense. So I mean, if you are watching, make sure that you have a very good circle.
A very good circle of
very
friends,
valuable,
or mentors, valuable people that love excellence.
Excellence, yes.
People that are not okay with where they are. They're always aiming high. So
man, that kind of
I'm grateful for that.
You won't even have to. If you're in that kind of, you won't even have to do much. Because you won't have choice but just to grow.
Because you don't want to be to be left behind.
Exactly.
So because if I don't want to be left behind, I'm I need to up my game too. I need to.
Okay. All right. So I was going to ask a question about community, but I think we've also
we've talked.
I think
about just touched on it.
Talked about that. Okay. So. Okay, so I have some questions. I'm expecting that the answers will be fast.
They are not hard questions.
They're not hard questions. Okay, so I think they are very simple questions.
Okay.
Some of them can be thought provoking, to be honest. But let me start with the very the easiest one. The first one is what's your favorite programming language? If you had to pick one, I know you've touched.
Yeah, I've touched a couple of programming languages. If I'm to pick one, I'll say JavaScript because that's what puts food on the table. I'll say JavaScript. Then I'll say JavaScript, Python, and C. Yeah.
Why C?
Yeah. So
why C?
I like it because C is the mother of all programming languages, right? And I was privileged to work with C for some time when I was doing ALX software engineering program.
I remember.
I was privileged to work with C, and I just love I don't know if I should call it simplicity of the language.
Some of us not agree.
It's not simple. But I'm not saying simplicity in terms of the syntax and all of that, but the simplicity of the language in terms of it does not do a lot for you.
Yes, it doesn't have too many complexities.
Exactly. It does not have too many abstractions.
Yeah, that's right.
That's the word. Yes. It does not have too many abstractions.
Yes.
And I'm able to, it helped me understand how things work behind the scenes. How things, because it's very close to the system.
Yes, to the system, yeah.
So I'm able to understand it. As a matter of fact, I feel C has helped me understand how software works better than any other programming language. So that's why I'm putting C on that list.
Yes, I agree with you. I agree with you.
Do I want to code in C? I don't think so. But I just love it because I like to use it as a learning for learning purposes, just to learn.
Yes.
But do I want to take up a job with it? I don't know yet. As of today, I don't know. As of today, but maybe if I become very, very good at it, maybe I'll consider taking up a job with it.
I know someone that writes C full time.
Wow.
Yes, I know someone that does that full time. He basically builds all these systems. Like, he doesn't build software. Like, he does system engineering.
System engineering, yes.
Not software engineering, but all the best to the person. Okay.
Salute to the person.
Yes, salute to, because yes, I actually like, because those kind of people, the way they see systems is different.
It's different, yes.
Yes, it's different from what we see.
Yeah.
Because it's just different. Like,
because they are dealing with the foundational level,
the raw components,
and they don't have too many abstractions to work with. So I really, really respect people like that.
Yeah. Okay. Second question is, what's the best piece of career advice you've ever received? Yes.
The best piece of career advice that I've ever gotten will be one from my manager, or who is now our CPTO. Right. I don't know if it's okay to mention his name, but some of you already know. If you know Mr. You know Mr. You know the first. Olamide Akinola. Yeah. And I remember he's one of the. I'm also grateful that I have him in my life. He always says things that are thought provoking, and not thought provoking in a negative way, but thought provoking in a way that makes me demand more from myself. Right. So, and the advice that there's one thing that, we have a mantra on our engineering team, but then to me, it's an advice, one of it, and that's never stop growing. Right. Never stop. Never stop. Growing. So I see it as one of the most valuable piece of advice.
Wow. That was awesome. And I'm sure you guys enjoyed that session with John. We are having John again for a second edition, and we are going to let you guys know when it is out. So stay tuned and make sure you are anticipating. See you guys.